2026 Colorado Rockies are bad. Not rebuilding bad. Not one or two pieces away bad. This is a roster full of replacement level players, defensive liabilities, and pitching that simply cannot survive Coors Field. There are a few interesting bats, a couple real bullpen arms, and one or two guys who look like long-term pieces. But top to bottom, this team lacks impact talent, balance, and stability, and it shows everywhere. Now, let's run through the lineup and pitching staff and see what each player brings to the table. Let's get started. Starting catcher, and probably their best player, Hunter Goodman. Legitimate raw power, one of the very few real offensive threats on the roster. Everything else around him brings him down. At 31 home runs, 91 RBIs, and 3.7 WAR in 2025. Expect him to have another solid year. Backup catcher, Braxton Fulford. 1 home run and 108 at-bats. He's got soft hands, decent game caller, really a depth piece that's forced into more game action than he probably should. Blaine Krim. First base, had 5 home runs and 65 at-bats in his first hit in the majors last year. Hit 200. Might not be a realistic starter, but that should play in Colorado. Troy Johnston brings line drive contact. Solid depth piece, but probably is playing a bigger role than he really should. Ryan Ritter, really a utility infielder right now. Might be the starting second baseman as currently constructed. Had 187 at-bats and a .3 WAR in 2025. Dale Amador had a negative 1.2 WAR, 1 home run, and 113 at-bats. Was a huge, big prospect hype, but completely overmatched at the plate thus far. Might not be a major league talent after all. Kyle Karros. Corner infield depth, really not a starter level talent, but is expected in that role as of now. 1 home run and 137 at-bats in Coors Field. Ezekiel Tovar brings defensive reliability, probably the closest thing Colorado has to a foundational player, even though he's really closer to average than a star. Had a .6 WAR, 9 home runs, and 360 at-bats. Hit 253. A good player. Jordan Beck has a power speed blend, one of the few players that's really trending upwards, but still inconsistent. Had a .9 WAR, 16 home runs, and 539 at-bats, 19 stolen bases. Had a decent year. Could be a possible late-end value in fantasy drafts here for yourselves. Brenton Doyle. Speed and range, defensive first outfielder with a bat that does struggle and has had inconsistencies over the years. Had 15 home runs, 18 stolen bases, hit 233, and 502 at-bats in 2025. Mickey Manayak. Former first-round pick. Full side power. The bat's real. The glove's disastrous. Had a negative 2.7 WAR defensively. Coors Field does magnify his bat, but might not be an everyday player realistically. Had a negative .6 WAR, 24 home runs though, and hit 270 in Colorado in 2025. Tyler Freeman brings contact ability and speed. The bat does play. The defense absolutely does not. Negative 1.9 defensive WAR. Overall had a negative 1.3 WAR in 2025. 18 stolen bases, still hit 281, 2 home runs, and 377 at-bats. Yanquiel Fernandez, tools, but hasn't truly had the results thus far. Had a decent 4 home runs and 138 at-bats. Does have the raw power potential and home run abilities going to be his calling card. But what else does he bring to the roster? On to the starting rotation. Kyle Freeland. Durability. Tries to survive more at Coors Field than truly dominate. He's kind of the rotation leader by default. More of a mid to back end starter, realistically. Had a 4.98 ERA, 1.4 WAR, and 31 starts for the Rockies in 2025. Should be their leader again this year, 2026. Ryan Feltner. Pitch mix, it's pretty good. Really a back end starter masquerading as a mid to top end rotation arm for this Rockies team. 4.75 ERA, 0.6 WAR, and his 6 starts. It's out most of the year. Last year, only 7 minor league starts, trying to get back to form. Tanner Gordon. Negative 0.1 WAR, 6.33 ERA, and 15 starts. Brings a little bit of dependability and took the ball fair share. Really a back-end innings eater, though might not be a true major league arm. Chase Dollander. Prospect pedigree stuff is all here. The results absolutely are not. He needs to find some consistency. 0.3 WAR, negative 0.3 WAR in 2025, 6.52 ERA in his 21 starts. So, can he get back to his top prospect form? Might not in Colorado. McCade Brown. He has some decent strikeout ability as a starter. Misses bats. Does have command issues, though. 7.36 ERA and a negative 0.2 WAR in a 7 starts. Should start as the last man falling into this rotation in 2026. On to the bullpen. Might be the only true bright spot of this roster. Jimmy Herget. Has deception, command, one of the most effective relievers in baseball, despite his lower velocity. A 3.0 WAR as a reliever is phenomenal. 8.7 Ks, 2.48 ERA in his 59 appearances. Expect him to be one of the best setup men in baseball. Could he be traded mid-year? We'll see. Brendan Bernardino. Really the only reliable left-handed pitcher for the bullpen on this roster. 0.4 WAR, 3.14 ERA, 7.5 Ks in his 55 appearances this past year. Jaden Hill. Strikeout ability, power arm, that misses bats. He's a legitimate bullpen piece. 0.5 WAR, 3.38 ERA, 9.5 Ks per 9. Expect him to possibly get a few saves here in 2026. Juan Mejia. Also, another talented arm. It's still raw, though, but his arm's going to keep him in the picture despite his inconsistencies on occasion. 0.6 WAR, 3.96 ERA. Should stay on this 26-man roster. Seth Halverson. Brings late inning velocity. He's useful, might have been overexposed due to the Rockies being a bunch of close games without being able to pull them off. I expect someone else to start the year as the closer. If Halverson steps it up, his phenomenal arm will get him back that position of closer, though. Antonio Senzatella really has a ground ball approach, contact heavy style that does get him punished a little bit being in Colorado. High speculation that and basically confirmation that he should be moving to the bullpen in 2026. His experience should keep him on the roster. Did have a solid year once he moved to the bullpen, however, so could his arm get a little play well in the bullpen? We'll see. RJ Pettit has yet to make the majors, was the number 1 pick in the Rule 5 draft, and should make this roster. Really has some developmental upside, monster of a man, and probably the heaviest player in all of baseball minor leagues, presently speaking. And really is a blank canvas with room to grow, hence his number 1 pick in the Rule 5 draft. Should make this roster, however, though. And the closer, Victor Vodnik, had a 1.8 WAR in 2025, 3.02 ERA, solid 8.7 Ks, another power arm, late inning stuff. It really is a closer and should be one of the more tradable assets that this team might give up on midseason. The rest of the 40-man. Keegan Thompson, recently acquired, has a career 3.64 ERA and 227 career innings. Minimizes hits, will strike you out, poor control, which could harm him in Colorado, however. Carson Palmquist, negative 0.7 WAR, 8.91 ERA, and 7 starts in 2025. Brings deception and angle. Lefty who can create uncomfortable at-bats for left-handed batters. However, could slide occasional bullpen appearances, in my opinion, in 2026. Zach Agnos came out of nowhere last year briefly, had 4 saves, negative 0.4 WAR, 6.61 ERA. Has some late inning experience and had some decent leverage work despite shaky run prevention. Should be up and down throughout this 2026 season for the Rockies with their depth. Bradley Blaylock, innings eater, truly, in my opinion, is not an MLB caliber pitcher. A 9.36 ERA in his 12-plus starts. Negative 1.6 WAR, 1.841 ERA, whip, Really bad. But had potential a couple years ago, so I think they'll stick with him, see what he can do. Might not be a great fit in Colorado. Zach Veen, athletic, but still raw. Negative 0.3 WAR and his 34 at-bats. Hasn't truly contributed just yet. Has potential. Should get some opportunity in 2026. Angel Chivilli. That's pretty good durability. 40-plus appearances in 2025. A negative 0.7 WAR. 7.06 ERA. Could be a piece for this bullpen, especially once the trade deadline comes along. Sterling Thompson has yet to make the majors. Has some decent plate discipline, strong on-base skills, and a good approach to his offensive profile. But should get into some games here for the Rockies in 2026. Luis Peralta, really the only other left-handed bullpen true arm outside of Brendan Bernardino. Power arm that strikes out people in flashes despite rough control issues. Had a 2.316 whip in his 22 appearances, negative .8 WAR, 9.47 ERA. Had a rough year, but definitely will be in some games for this Rockies team without too many left-handed bullpen arms. Garrett Acton made one appearance, first appearance in the majors second appearance, in the majors with Tampa in 2025. Has a career 12.1 Ks per 9 in the minors, so has some trustability, can fill some innings if needed. Could be a stretch arm, could be spot starter if needed. Decent piece. Gabriel Hughes, really upside, known more for his decent command and sequencing than his pure stuff. Young, and had a 4.19 ERA between AA and AAA 2025. Should get into some games come mid to late season. Wellington Herrera, another lefty. He's yet to make the majors. Had 17 saves between the minor leagues in 2025. The 2.64 ERA brings some left-handed matchup value. So should definitely get onto this roster in 2026. And two other players. Chris Bryant, expected to more than likely be on the injury list to start the year. Has lumbar disc disease, always in pain. It's a player with a massive contract, absolute minimal production with his injury history. And really, he's symbolic of the Rockies roster problems. Jeff Criswell had Tommy John in May of 2025. Gives up fair share of fly ball, strong strikeout rate though. Might be able to get back and healthy by the end of 2026. Possibly help the team out. Now, presently, this roster short one player on their 40-man. My belief is they should either look for a defensive first catcher who would immediately improve the pitching performance. Pitching staff already struggles with command. Fulford as a depth piece is really their backup. Maybe they should look for a more experienced catcher like Christian Vasquez to help the staff. Or a middle infielder. As there is really no proven everyday second or third baseman. Middle infield depth is among the worst in all of baseball. We'll see where they go with their last piece of the 40-man. In closing, 2026 Colorado Rockies are bad because they're unbalanced, defensively weak, and built without regard for their home park. The rotation can't miss bats. The infield gives runs back. The lineup relies on one or two hitters to carry everything. There's no identity, no elite young core, and no safety net when injuries hit because the depth is already replacement level. Until the Colorado Rockies prioritize defense, catching, functional infield play, this team will continue to live in the basement of the major leagues. The Rockies don't just need stars, they need competence. And right now, that's something they're painfully in short supply of. Thanks everybody for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Leave your thoughts on the Rockies 2026 season. Leave a like, subscribe. Watch out for more videos to come.